Good evening YouTubers and YouTuberettes, welcome back to APN Reactions, and now I'm about to do another YouTuber reactions, and it's the same person that did that Frankenstein short film, and it's Blinky500, and it's the one that I've seen from the very beginning. He did a lot of fan-made films, and it's a lot involving of Capcom characters and mostly Batman. So this is a new short film that he's done, and it's called Batman Dante, I think. I can't really Dante. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure I'll be corrected at some point. But here it is. Let's sit back and relax and see how cool it is.
Stay. I didn't leave the house. I was so out of it. I forgot to pick up my thing. She had to stay at the school and I was supposed to eat lunch. And that's when I said that I was going to attend these meetings and get sober. Because she's worth it. And so am I. And today is day 82.
Dante, I was right the first time. So this must be Dante.
My name is Dante. Hi, Dante.
Knew that was going to be corrected.
Now, I could talk to you about the dangers of drug use and all that, but I don't think there's anything about using that you don't already know. Instead, I'd rather talk to you about myself and what helped me to stop. My mama died when I was a kid. I never knew my father.
I can relate to that.
I spent a lot of time in and out of foster care. When I was 13, I joined a gang and started dealing. I tried not using. I kept telling myself it was just a job. I didn't need no drugs. I was addicted to methamphetamines before my 14th birthday. When I turned 18, I hit the streets hard. I was broke, homeless, and a junkie. I stayed that way for the next 10 years. Until one day. I was down under the bridge on the Lower East Side. I was high on heroin. These back then were just blurring together.
Same actors playing different other
I was
characters.
sitting next to a dumpster trying to keep warm when I began hearing these screams. I didn't know where they'd come from, but it wouldn't stop. Screaming in his pounds, bones break, thunder crash.
They must have got some awesome cosplayer to show up for that moment, because that must have cost like an arm and a leg to get that costume.
So I crawled. Crawled all through the alley toward the streams. And then I saw
Oh,
like a demon in the night, just unleashing all this rage and violence against these two crackheads. They were raping some woman and just stopped them. Just jumped out of the sky and started beating on her. Beating on her. It was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen.
and obviously the classic, you walk away from Batman until he creeps up on you. Ah, here comes the light. Oh, thought it was going to be a huge light pull. And the classic Batman headbutt.
Crackhead stopped screaming. He beat him unconscious. Then he dropped him like rag dolls and turned over. I almost pissed myself. I was so scared.
He's got the Batman mouth look where he just...
Crackheads.
It's just absolutely perfect.
I didn't bother. I could see his boots. Black money was in front of me.
And it's perfect, you can't see his eyes.
Like a bear. I could see his eyes. Just black.
Those are perfect angles, you can't see his eyes, that's the scary part.
So crying. I begged him not to hurt me. I told him I didn't do anything. I told him that I was a two-bit junkie and nobody. I told him the truth. And then I heard something. Just a whisper before he let me go. You know, I could feel his grip loosen. My legs wouldn't support me, so I fell back down to the gutters. Right next to the dumpster where he found me. I wasn't the same after that night. I never wanted to be the same after that night. I wasted 15 years on nothing. I was a thug, a drug dealer, and ultimately a homeless junkie freezing his ass off next to a dumpster. No one should live that way. No one should ever want to live that way. I've been clean for the last 5 years. I work a job, I have a home, and I never go hungry. It took a life-shattering experience to make me want to change who I was. But it was the wake-up call that I needed. Hopefully none of you will ever need one.
Now, that was the most brilliant Batman short I've seen in a while. Because at first, at the start of it, you get to hear the woman talk about the painful experience she went through, and then you get to see some crackhead saying, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm not supposed to be here, and you're all just hassling me and all," and then they're at the moment where he's at the dumpster and he sees all this, and then he sees Batman, and then he goes back and then he tells his life story. But the way that they started it, where he talks about that he's been like this since he was like 13, 14, and it was the way that it all went down to hell when he started living on his own in the streets trying to stay warm, and he's living behind a dumpster. And the way that the way Batman started to appear, that came out perfectly. The most awesome, epic part where you see him leap from the skies and all you see is his boots, and then you see from the back of his head, and then that's when his memorable moments kick in. And the way that they've done him, which must have been hard to get the Michael Keaton Batman costume, because that is one of the most Batman classic costumes ever, because they're basically saying, no, if I'm going to be doing Batman, I'd rather do a classic, get the Michael Keaton costume. Or basically anyway. And I loved it where the camera could not get, well, the lighting of the camera could not get his eyes at all, because I mean, it was just so dark and scary, and that's the way that Batman should be left. Instead of seeing his eyes all the time, it should be just black and you can't really see them, and it's like, it's really scary. And at the same time, this film is not showing the action. It's showing what Batman can do, but he can only do it the scary way, until one day you're looking yourself in the mirrors going, look at me now. Batman has changed my life, and I know deep down I'm thanking him. And he knows it when he sees me, when he's on the balconies patrolling. He's seen what he changed. Like in that episode, the classic episode of Batman the Animated Series, where the Jazz Man puts Commissioner Gordon in hospital, but there's this little kid who's been he owns money for some guy, and he's like saying, oh, excuse me, I don't need some creep along underwear helping me out. And then at the end of the episode, Jim Gordon's perfectly well, and then the next thing, he sees him in a suitcase going, I hope you're sending that briefcase to the right owner. And then he says, for your information, I am the owner. And then he gives him this memorable speech. Because of you, Batman, it's turning my life around. I'm going back home to visit my mom. He is not just a symbol of fear. He's not just a symbol of hope, he's the symbol of change. Because I mean, see if I was in that man's scenario and Batman really exists, and I seen him and he actually walked up to me and says, you're not nothing, you're just lost. Find your way back. And that's what that man did, and he's been clean for 5 years, and that was just out of that world perfect. And I hope, Chris, you get to make more like this. This is my shout out to you, man. Because I mean, I have been a fan of your work since the first film I saw was where you had Freddy, Michael, Leatherface, Pinhead, and Jason in this most epic battle for going up against Freddy Krueger. I mean, that was perfect. And then when I saw the sequel, you don't stop amazing me, because you're just brilliant. This is my shout out to you, man. Because all the things that you've done, all the things that I've watched, I seriously love your work. And this is another example of how much I love your work. And you just made another amazing film, which pretty soon will be a classic. It'll be a classic to my eyes, it'll be a classic to your fans' eyes, and probably to your future fans in the next couple of years will be saying, this guy's amazing. And that's how I feel about you, Chris. You're amazing, you're brilliant, and I hope I get to see more like this, and I hope I get to see other YouTubers doing their videos and I get to watch them. So Chris, thank you very much for making this film, this amazing short film. Not because of the action, you just sent a message to the people who have gone through terrible feelings, and then if they watch this video, they'll be saying, God, if this person was actually real, this could happen to me, or I could have been something far worse. Batman is a symbol of more than just, he's a symbol of change. And this film is the living example of it. And Chris, you're amazing, you're brilliant, you're fantastic, and I can't wait to see more of your films. And I don't know how many times I've said it now, but I seriously, I hope I get to see more of your stuff, and I hope I get to see more of the Frankenstein short films, because I really enjoyed the first one and I reacted to that one. So this is the second video of your work that I reacted to, and I'm very pleased. So YouTubers and YouTuberettes, those who haven't seen Blinky 500, look him up and watch all his work from the very beginning. He's brilliant, he does a lot of amazing work. So that's my reaction for tonight. So I'm going to turn this off and go to bed and edit this the next day. So YouTubers and YouTuberettes and Blinky 500. And also like to take this opportunity for a special shout out for a friend of mine who's not feeling well at this moment, and his name is Craig. So this is basically a shout out to Blinky 500 and a get well gift from a friend who can watch this video, this reaction, and I hope it makes him feel better in his own way. So YouTubers and YouTuberettes, Blinky500 and Craig, I'm ConorArmCEO. Thank you and good night. Over and out.